Is the unnamed tavern named Unnamed Tavern? Is Unnamed Tavern named Unnamed Tavern, or is it a tavern that's not been named?
We have, of course, Elon Musk and talking about how actually Sweden won't give in to Tesla's license plate demands.
Oh, I love this one. Yeah.
Surprise.
I read this one and I was like, damn, Sweden. Damn.
And Sweden's not the first country to tell Tesla and Elon Musk specifically no. Because the UK was like, no about proprietary stuff. And go ahead, Dapper, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, he generally has a really bad luck in Europe because Europe has this thing called, what is it? Laws. Labor laws. That's what it is. Labor
and unions.
laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have unions and labor laws.
That sounds pretty communist to me. The person who was voted, the most labor-friendly politician in the state of California, 1 year.
So yeah, like cool. Elon Musk has a long-standing and well-known opposition to like the concept of unionization. Yes. And look, I'm not going to say everything that every union has ever done has been above board and great, right? Like there are some problems with unions here and there, like everything. But
corruption can happen anywhere, yeah.
Yeah, overall, they do actually manage to keep working conditions for members in a reasonable place overall. And Musk does not like that. In fact, rather famously, he has faced multiple lawsuits over racial discrimination and hazardous working conditions in his various factories, especially with Tesla. Really? In fact, there's actually been it's pretty well documented that his managers at his factory routinely use racial slurs of minority employees. Will routinely make the racial minority employees do the worst jobs. Will generally not listen to their complaints and things like that. Yeah. Like if you're not white and you go to work at a Tesla factory.
Which is insane for a tech company, like a high-end tech company. There are so many good technicians and programmers and people who know what they're doing from not America. Ask NASA. They'll know. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, Elon Musk recently boosting a tweet about the Great Replacement Theory.
Yeah.
And it being a Jewish conspiracy. Like, that's not new for him, right? It's new that he's being so public about his racism, but he has a long, well-documented history of accepting racist people into management in his companies and not having a problem with that. And it's hard for me to come to the conclusion that you're like, oh yeah, the guy who should run my factory is the guy who likes to shout the N-word at people at the top of his lungs. And then you not also be someone who's okay with that kind of behavior. Like, how do you just can't square that?
I was on a train with a person who identified that they were a manager at a Tesla Motors factory, and I think they said they were like the shift leader for a factory, and they claimed that they had a sense of humor. And one of their sense of humor jokes was that they learned how to use a bullwhip and would crack the whip when they thought the line was not moving fast enough, as a bit of humor.
Hey,
now there were people who thought that whipping or threatening to whip employees of particularly certain ethnicities would be insensitive, but they said they countered it by saying that some of their best friends are from.
Of course.
Yeah. I believe you.
Yeah. So here's a fun thing. Bullwhips are dangerous weapons which can cause serious injury up to the point of breaking bones in some cases. Like, you're probably not going to break someone's like spine or femur, but you can absolutely break a finger with it. And generally speaking, you shouldn't bring dangerous weapons to work. Just as a rule. Yeah. I mean, look, if your job is I work at the gun range, then okay, yeah, sure, bring in a dangerous weapon, I guess, because that's kind of the job. But like, you're at a car factory. there's no reason for you to have a weapon at the car factory.
No.
What was
Not
the
at
weapon
all.
again? Sorry, what did you say?
A bullwhip.
A bullwhip.
A bullwhip. Oh, okay, yeah.
Bullwhip, yeah,
Milady.
like Indiana Jones has kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, got it.
And they said
Oh
they
my
were
God.
doing this in jest, but on the other hand, it's kind of hard for the person acting like a plantation master to be taken in jest.
So for anybody who doesn't know, a bullwhip is a homebrew thing for
Yes,
Dungeons and Dragons. It's like a bit tweaked of the regular whip that you can get in the weapons category in the player's handbook, and it's specifically a 1d8 slashing damage, and it is a heavy finesse weapon with a reach of 10 in the homebrew.
Okay.
If you decide to ever add that to your game.
It's important that we know the D&D stats for this weapon. That is also it's also a real life thing.
But that's what I mean.
In case anyone's wondering.
There is nothing
What's
that
the
tells
damage?
me that something counts 1d8 slashing.
Okay.
There is nothing
Plus
that
your
tells
dexterity
me
modifier.
Plus your dex modifier, yeah. There is nothing that tells me that that this thing is actually a weapon. Then it's listed in a guide for weapons in a game.
Also, don't bring your Vorpal longsword to work. Also not okay.
Also not okay. Don't bring weapons to the workplace. Surprise, surprise.
Look
All right,
how
let's get into this.
I am. Look at my sword. Look at my dude.
Anyway, so what is this
bullshit
this
dog tags?
What did this person, this formless control do? He was so I understand that he was basically trying to do a union busting in Sweden. And
yeah, so
said,
it's specifically this article says Elon Musk's electric car company has suffered a reversal of fortune in its ongoing battle with Sweden's labor unions. It turns out Tesla won't be getting license plates in the Nordic country, at least not for the foreseeable future. Tesla has been in deep shit with the unions of Scandinavia ever since it failed to ratify a collective bargaining agreement with a group of Swedish mechanics in October. Those mechanics who are part of a prominent Swedish unions, IF Metal, which I'm pretty sure is like the name of it, so it's like IF and then METALL if you want to look them up, proceeded to go on strike, which spurred other regional labor unions to support their efforts. Oh, solidarity and unions doing their job. Recently, workers... Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
One thing I want to point out is that the Nordic countries, so that is going to include Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, they all have a fairly tight labor solidarity thing going on. So, yes. And that's specifically to make it hard for a company to mistreat workers in one of those countries and then to just kind of skip over to one of the other ones and be like, oh, look, we'll mistreat the guys over here. And then, yeah, so the unions there are just like, no.
Labor shopping, guys.
Yeah, and generally, part of that solidarity is that when one labor union goes on strike, it generally means that members of other unions will refuse to do any business with the struck company until the strike is resolved. So this is actually not an unusual thing to have happen. This is a pretty standard thing in, like, Nordic labor relations. Something that Elon Musk might have known if, he ever bothered to research anything and maybe learn a lesson in his entire goddamn life.
Elon research? Thank you very much. My god. Don't you know that Elon Elon is a synonym for
cinnamon?
Synonym?
Research.
Delicious. Synonym. I want to sit.
Yeah, it's a cinnamon. Elon. Like in the rum.
They put him in all your pumpkin spice.
Your dictionaries.
Ooh.
Synonym.
Look, English is bullshit.
Synonymous. Yeah, Monty's trying to say synonymous. Elon Musk is synonymous with...
Sorry. I'm wearing the new ones and I'm still adjusting my speech pattern around it. And it's like...
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Borg, real quick, thank you. They say, all hail Dapper Dinosaur with some emojis. All hail Dapper Dinosaur in this place. We stand Dapper Dinosaur.
Thank you.
Yes, definitely. And subscribe to his channel, Patreon, all that good stuff. So, in addition to
I don't know.
Musk's, hard troubles, the EU has told his Cybertruck a thing that looks like a 8-year-old drew it on with crayons on a.
That's because he based it on a drawing from his kid. That's literally what happened, Landon.
At least he cares about one of his kids.
So the EU basically has said no to the Cybertruck. It appears so far only the U.S. has, and I'm hopeful that people that are going to try to get the registration board to essentially say that the Cybertruck is not street safety worthy,
Yeah.
or that as well.
Yeah.
I found somebody who has put money down on a deposit. Oh, they didn't know how much the Cybertruck cost. They said that they expect to get the truck in 2 years, and they did it because of because of the engineering, and they had excuses about the passenger crumple thing, saying that pickups suffer from the same problem.
Do not get me started on like the build of like 80s steel cage trucks, all right? Do not get me started.
So there's a couple things I want to say. One is the big reason that the Cybertruck is not allowed to be on European roads is because it does not meet the pedestrian safety regulations in basically any European country, which requires certain things about, especially like the front of the vehicle, to be true to minimize damage to pedestrians. Now, granted, you know, if you decide to cross the Autobahn with everyone going like 150 miles an hour and you get hit by a car that does follow these regulations, yeah, you're probably still going to get obliterated, right? They're not going to do that much for you. But the other thing I want to point out is that recently Elon Musk had his delivery party for the first Cybertrucks, where he came out on stage, stood in the bed of the Cybertruck.
Is that like a baby announcement kind of party?
Kind of, yeah.
Gender reveal
so
party?
He gets up and he stands in the bed of the Cybertruck and he says, you know, they said that this was an impossible car to build and that we would never do it, but we did it. Except here's the thing, though. He did not build the car that he was promising back in 2017 during the announcement. The car he delivered costs twice as much, has half the range, doesn't have most of the features promised, and his version of testing the bulletproof glass was to have someone hurl a tennis ball painted like a baseball at the glass, because if you remember, when someone hurled a metal ball at the glass in the actual announcement party, it shattered immediately. Well, it didn't shatter, but it cracked immediately into a spider web. And the thing is, you can tell it's a tennis ball because you can hear the bounce when it hits the glass. It's a tennis ball sound.
Yeah. It's got that like classic like rubber like Glock sound.
So I would encourage people to take a look at Thunderfoot's latest video. I'm disclaimer. I'm a patron of Thunderfoot. He has a very interesting discussion about the Cybertruck.
I'll go find that right now. Hold on, let me find it.
But you know, I'm hoping that the U.S. Transportation Safety Commission takes a hard look at Cybertruck and evaluates it on the issue of passenger safety, pedestrian safety, safety to other cars, and those and various factors, right? Other things that marvel is that it has inside of it wireless Ethernet to control the devices. So you have a cyber car with your controls, your steering, and so forth, essentially using some technology. I don't know if it's Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, but that is kind of a frightening level of stuff. Because if you understand, for example, in a modern airliner, like an Airbus or one of the Boeings, what they do with regards to avionics and control, there is a very advanced level of things to make sure that the safety of the airline is maintained. Imagine Elon Musk putting that sort of technology into there, where you're driving by wire in a device that hopefully doesn't get. Well, you know how sometimes your Bluetooth kind of goes boing. I don't know if it's Bluetooth or other Ethernet wireless stuff.
It just drops.
Just imagine, or your wireless connection, drop stuff. Just imagine what happens if certain packets are dropped.
Boy. Hey, there's a big truck behind you. Whee!
If it's all wireless, you can be outside the Cybertruck and you can send an identical wireless signal into the Cybertruck if your transmitter is strong enough.
right?
Yeah.
I
Or
wonder
we
how it
going-
would be if someone
perfect
just drove
situation
by
for
you
a
on the
car
highway and say, I don't know, turned off your engine.
Well, then are
Admittedly,
we
this
gonna
this
go
is this.
back to talking about how there is like dick shit all privacy and security in cars? Because that was a whole conversation we had. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
video, it's on a
Sure.
stream. You can go and check it out if you want.
coming back to the
I want to
topic.
point out that I mean comments about this thing is alleged. They say allegedly because of statements that Tesla has made regarding the internals. No one has actually confirmed this, but their push was to say that because they don't have to have the wiring, which adds to weight, it's somehow better, even though they're using either 1.8 millimeters, stainless
steel. Yeah.
To do this thing. They originally were going to do 3 millimeter thick. They
God,
dropped it down to 1.8.
That's so thick.
I mean,
Like, it doesn't sound like
it
a
is
lot, but you look at a 3
It's
millimeter
tons.
thick
Yeah,
piece
no,
of steel,
it is.
and it's oof.
it is tons, right? This is a vehicle that is an order of tons without the battery and the other thing. But crumple zone, what crumple zone, right? It's
What
so
crumple
it's
zone?
really it really is I want the transportation to take a hard look and determine whether or not it is street legal given its current
So
I think
what
alleged
happened
stats.
is, sorry, go ahead, Moni.
I think so. There is a very Elon is trying to take. It's the same thing as like Stan Friedman, and same thing as Elizabeth Holmes. These fucking morons come in and claim like they are the future. They got it, and then they will like give us the the future tech that's needed. They get all the investment, and then they open up little projects here and there, and then in the end, none of them were like worth the investment at all. So that's what is happening right now because his I don't know if Tesla's like current electric car is a success. I don't think so. It's a success. So they're trying to deflect from it by the hyperloop, like something that the train that Elon had come up with, and now this fucking truck that he has come up with, and then trying to go with like Starlink and all that bullshit. So when are we going to realize, or when are the investors are going to realize that he is full of shit? He's full of shit, allegedly.
Allegedly. So what had happened was recently workers with Sweden's post office, Post Nord, stopped delivering license plates to Tesla as an act of solidarity with the striking workers. I think that's hilarious and amazing. I love that. Predictably, Tesla's response to this action. Predictably, Tesla's response to this action was to sue the government of Sweden. This spurred a Swedish court last week to rule that Swedish Transport Agency, the parent agency of Sweden's post office, was obligated to deliver license plates to the EV company. However, The Guardian now reports that those license plates won't have to be delivered after all, at least not for now. A Swedish court decided that Post Nord's workers should not be forced to deliver license plates if they don't want to.
Yeah, that's the thing. What are you going to do if they just don't?
Oh my god.
Like, are you going to jail every single postal worker for not delivering license plates? Like, really? You're like,
this is what
you're obligated to
solidarity
deliver
does.
these.
This is what working together does. This is what unionization is about. This is what happens when the people control the government. This is what happens when the people are more important than the corporation, let alone the foreign corporation. Let's not forget that Tesla and Elon are foreigners to Sweden and Switzerland and Finland and everybody else except, America. The latest judgment is an interim decision that will be in effect until a final ruling, date notwithstanding, until further notice. Post Nord's cessation of Tesla's license plate deliveries has made things difficult, for the electric vehicle company and other Swedish workers, including electricians, dock workers, cleaners, and drivers, all have abandoned or threatening to abandon the company, as well if it fails to bargain with the mechanics. Tesla's organized labor problem appears to be spreading, too. Workers in Denmark and Norway have also instigated actions against the car company as a show of solidarity. This makes it all the more ironic that in recent interview, Elon admitted, quote, "I disagree with the idea of unions." Apparently the feeling is mutual.
It's surprising.
I love that line.
It's not a surprise
That's a
that,
good line.
the owner of like Starbucks, and Elon Musk think on the same lines, that they don't like unions. I wonder why, and if I may say that aren't all these countries that are mentioned are part of the EU, if I'm not wrong? European Union, if I'm not wrong, or not? Or am I mistaken?
No, these are the Nordic countries. I think they're in their own. Like, I think they have their own grouping.
Okay. Yeah. So
Landon would be the expert on that.
Yeah. So this is like, this
Finland's
is
in the
wonderful.
EU.
Is Finland in the? Oh, then yeah, they're in their own then. I don't think they're doing this. As
Sweden
part
is
of
in the EU.
Yeah. I get it.
Norway's in the EU. Yeah, they're in the EU.
Okay,
Hopefully, at some point,
there you
will
go.
become part of NATO too.
Thank you for double checking.
So yes,
I really wasn't sure.
So the so they're having labor problems in Scandinavia, and Scandinavia is not just caving in with union busting stuff that Musk seems to want them to do. But I say, well, what you can say is,
Elon meet standards and human rights and standards. Please meet Elon Musk.